Thanks for joining us again. And now we have a guest with us here in the studio. He is a graphics designer, and his name is Jopee. How are you? Nice to have you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for having me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
How was your trip down here? Hope it wasn't stressful.
A bit, but I can manage. I escaped it.
We are happy you could make it to the studio. So you are into graphics design. Okay, before we go into the details of what you do, tell us a brief history of who you really are.
Okay, my name is Jopee, Joseph Dairo, named by my parents, Joseph Dairo. Friends call me Jopee. So I've always been an art lover from birth. You know, I did a lot of performing arts growing up, you know, the church kind of music thing. But growing up, better I began to fall more in love with art, understand, and I have this love for African work. So I personally believe that there is more beneath the African soil than has been seen by anyone yet, understand. So I believe the inspiration is with us right now. So in my graphic design, I make artworks that speak the African narrative, put African in the kind of light it should be, not poverty, not failure, not what people
those villages
no Africa to be, but Africa for what it truly is, you understand, the black pride of God himself,
the diverse cultures,
you understand, the beauty of the African dream, really, you understand. So, and that's what I do through my art, that's what I portray. So I generally make art with textile designs and black models for people fashion industry, and then I make some film posters too.
Okay, I can see you're wearing one of your designs.
Sure.
That's really beautiful. You made it yourself.
Yeah, I made it myself.
Nice. Okay, so the journey into graphics design, how has it been so far for you?
Yeah, it's been beautiful. It's been beautiful. You know, graphic design is a passion for me because I've always been an art student. I love art. I love to tell stories with pictures, put things together to make people think, to make them think in a particular direction, you know. So, but despite the challenges, the challenges have not been too much for me because of what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing, and I find fulfillment doing it. So it's been like a cruise.
Oh, good.
All right, let me butt in here. You just told us a couple of things.
Yeah.
Your passion about this craft, and how you've been able to successfully use this craft to be able to tell good narratives about Africa.
Yeah.
You know, when compared to the usual stories of poverty, unemployment, you know, and
bad governance.
Exactly. The list, you know, are just endless. So now tell us, how much did it take you to go into this career? And then were you actually mentored by someone, or you actually went to school to get the skill that you're actually making use of now?
Okay, for me personally, it began with passion. Then of course, there's passion needs refining. Everyone knows that, you know, for it to come to this point, for me to have come to this point, you know, firstly, it's been God all the way. Then it's been a lot of work. Looking at the values, the Christian values I have in my background, I know that, okay, when I believe and I got to work towards what I believe in, so I've been doing a lot of going to trainings, attending trainings online, getting some certifications for art. I just finished an art academy program for myself in 3D animation and art business. Then I've done a couple of courses online, and then talk about mentorship. These days, mentorship is wrongly misunderstood because as it is, it's either the person is going the same direction as you are. So when you have a unique direction, you cannot just submit to mentorship anyhow. So I've been picking inspiration from Bisa Butler, Rex Posters. I've been picking inspiration from a lot of people who do this, who do African, you know, who have the African narrative. But my biggest inspiration has been Dr. Martin Luther King.
All right, for those who are watching you right now, you said you avail yourself of some of these trainings.
Yeah.
Now, some of them watching might want to know, how much does it take, you know, to avail yourself of this training, or to, you know, be part of those who want to get the skill? How much does it cost?
Okay, it could cost you anything. If you love what you do, you have to be willing to give it.
Just give us an estimate.
How much does it cost you to?
Like you're talking about in monetary terms now?
Yes.
In monetary terms, I believe there are trainings out there for as low as 50K.
Okay.
You understand? There are trainings of 200, that 1,000 in naira. There are trainings of 500,000 in naira, depending on the one you want to opt for, and depending on
what you can afford.
what you can afford, and what you actually want.
Okay, fine. Let me come in there. The amount equals the value. That means the higher the money, the more advanced the level is.
Yeah, sometimes that is, but sometimes it isn't. You understand? Sometimes it isn't. You shouldn't go for example, I'm new in 3D modeling.
Okay.
You understand? Because I got the 3D modeling skill to also be able to create characters. You understand? I have a dream to create African characters and make them popular household names like the Superman, the Batman, and make African characters like the Instant. So that was important for me. So to me, it never mattered if the cost was 200,000 as about then. But for someone else that just wants to be a brand identity designer, people who just do logos and do cover pages
flyers,
for business and all those
posters.
flyers, going for a 3D course will be like out of place.
Okay.
You understand what I mean? So it's about, okay, what part of design are you going into? You understand? That will determine the kind of course you take.
Okay, let's before my colleague is itching to ask you more questions. But let me ask. Let's go to the creative side of it. Okay. You say you try to project Africa. Do you have a design on your own, like you stay and it flashes, in your mind and you come up with it, or where you derive your inspiration is when you see a particular maybe poster or a quote or something? But have you ever brought out your imagination to reality? Yeah,
a lot. In fact, creativity is the passageway to bringing imagination to reality. Okay. You understand? So as a creative person, there are many times, I'm sleeping at night and, I just feel like it clicks. And, because there has been thoughts I've been nursing about a particular aspect of Africa, maybe the orange plantation in South Africa, and I'm like, this is beautiful happening in South Africa, and the world doesn't tell this story. All they tell is that you have bad governance there and all that instant, and I don't know how to put it together at the first instance of conceiving the idea. So perhaps I'm sleeping at night and I just feel like, okay, it just came to me and I'm like, okay, I can do this, I can put this together, and every dot of a thing that looks in the, even though the work might look abstract, instant, everything has its own meaning, instant. So they just come to join together. At that point where they come to get joined together, I don't know it. But when I got it fully, I just know that, oh, this inspiration has come. So most of the time, it comes that way. Some other times too, I'm a believer that inspiration, it's not always 100% original. Instant, we are influenced by everything we see. Instant. So when I talk about my influence, I talk about the kind of followership I have on Instagram, the kind of people I'm following, the kind of content I'm viewing regularly. They intrude my mind. They help me to think positively.
All right, now, so let's just look at the screen now. We have some of your works being displayed. And for the benefit of those watching us right now, we want you to just explain, like this one we're having is called what now, for the benefit of those watching? Because
I'm sorry, I believe every picture you paint portrays a story. So let's know the story behind it.
So so looking at the story now, you can see that it's part of a collection that says Afro Cuties. You understand? So it's a curation that says Afro Cuties. This curation is talking about the beauty of the black woman.
African cuties, right?
Afro cuties collection.
But I can see a denim jacket. Why didn't you why did you have to include an English word?
Because it's contemporary. It's contemporary. Contemporary African art is not art that tries to put away everything that is in the recent. You understand? But it's what tells how we use the recent to enhance who we truly are. You understand? So when you say a true African dressed person right now, it's not like you're trying to go on the just Euro and Buba and I'm not wearing anything that's in this present. I just want to be, no. Contemporary is how we use that which is in our age to still spell out who we are in our inside.
So that's what informed that combination of the native and
the denim.
So now let's go to the next one. We have still African cuties, or Afro cuties as you called it. So what's this about, and what message are you trying to put out?
Okay, so now this is an Afro King. This is an Afro King, Jonathan Delight. He's a friend of mine in Zimbabwe. You understand? So he took this, we took this shot in Zimbabwe and he sent them over to me, and it was posted as a kind of I don't know if you saw this Aquaman. You understand? So a king of nature. You understand? So he sent them over to me, and I checked them out. Wow, okay, this is great. And over time, I just come up with an inspiration concerning. Okay, let us use this way. He's talking about him being a king in nature. You understand? So in Africa, we are people that we don't put out nature and then begin to manufacture artificial flowers.
But what I seeing the picture, it's trying to portray the
Egyptian style of rulership.
Of rulership. Okay, so but it's actually nice.
So if one wants to sell this artwork or this graphics or design, as you call it, how much can this go for?
For each of this one, we'll go for at least 100K.
100K, nothing less than that.
Yeah, 100K.
So what actually informs your pricing?
Okay, what informs my pricing? Because on the natural scale, I didn't do this collection for sale.
Yes, I'm just saying, for instance, if you want to sell this to someone out there, what actually informs your price? Okay,
so what informs the pricing now is the kind of material I'm going to put this in.
Your material, that's one.
The material I'm going to put this in. Then the value itself. Understand what I'm trying to, the communication itself.
The message is sending
out. The message is sending out. It's a unique message. Understand?
Right.
The collection is unique.
Understand?
Right. So talking about the price, the value, and one of the major factors that influence pricing is how much work I've put into myself to be able to conceive this idea.
How much work?
Yeah.
In terms of materials?
Put into it. No, not the material. I'm talking about intellectual work, intellectual creativity.
All right. So you don't also factor in colors? Color grading?
The color grading comes in part of the work while I'm working on my digital softwares.
All right, so now let's move to the next one. I just hope we can have it on the screen. Okay. Now this one is what? Is still talking about Afro Cute?
Yeah, this Black Beauty.
Black Beauty.
Yeah.
It's kind of, you love blacks a lot, or are you just trying to help people understand how cute the black?
No, I think he's actually trying to project Africa as a whole. That's what you're trying to do. The beauty of a black woman, the beauty of the blacks.
Okay, so you can see butterflies around it.
Okay.
You understand? So the butterflies is talking about the kind of soul that's in there.
The kind of what?
Soul that is in there. You understand? So you're seeing someone who's not decorated. You understand? Who's looking very bland. You understand? But there's something inside. You understand? Okay. And that's the butterflies around the head.
Okay, what about the earring? Because I think if you wanted to portray like the natural beauty, you would have taken off the earring, like any jewelry, just to make it look so natural.
Like I said,
because she's also wearing a makeup, like a lipstick.
Just a lip gloss.
Yeah. Like I say, my kind of art, understand? It's not, it's not your. It's digital art. It's not this traditional art where you be like, okay, I just have to have chalks all over, no touch of. It's contemporary.
Oh, okay.
So how much does this go for?
Yes, and this
if you want to design this for someone.
If I want to create this for somebody, it goes about 70K.
70K?
Yeah, to create this.
So how do you, now let's talk how you preserve your work.
No, we still have more.
Okay, more.
So
we have to extrude them one after the other. So what's this now? Talk to us about
this is a film poster.
Film poster.
Yeah, it's been
talking about what?
Worked on by Best Okodewa. Best Okodewa is is an Africa winning.
Yeah, he's film director.
Yeah, film director.
Producer.
So
I know him.
We got to work on this for a project that is about to release. Talking about the Chibok Girl saga. It's still being shot.
Okay.
It'll be released soon.
So how much is this for this poster or this design?
You mean how much I created?
How much can this go for?
Okay, how much I create my posters? I create my posters for 150K.
150K.
Yeah, for movie, because it's much commercial, so it's gonna make.
Okay, so do you really enjoy working on movie posters, or you prefer the normal design of you trying to portray Africans?
Okay, so for me, all the works I do on the African work, it's mostly when it comes to the use of it, it works more for the fashion industry. Then this film, works more for the multimedia world, entertainment industry. So if you check out my Instagram, you see the fact that I wrote a film and fashion photo artist. You understand?
Okay.
So for me, film and fashion comes in a very good blend, because with both of them, you are telling a story. Now, when you look at the poster of 100 of Us, you understand, there's a girl facing you and there are other girls facing the other side, you understand? And you just know that, okay, this scene is projecting something about people being in a kind of bondage.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm trying to say? So as far as storytelling is concerned, you understand, I love to do my film posters, do my compositions on them, tell a story with a film poster, and I can do the same thing with my African fashion art, instant. So it's all good for me.
I understand you have this heated passion for this craft. Let's say if we take you out of this,
Yeah,
and say do something else, what would you do?
okay, as a artist person.
Artist person.
Yes, artist personality. Art is not much of what you just do with your hands instant. Even when I'm sitting down, I'm doing art. When I'm looking at you, I'm doing art. So I can find my hands around a guitar. I'm a guitarist. I play the guitars very well. I play the keyboard very well. I can write songs for people and write poems for people.
Are you actively doing all of these things you're talking about, or you do them when you're less busy?
Yeah, I'm actively doing them, but I'm not doing them as business. You understand?
Business.
Because I, as a person, I believe in specialization. I believe you got to focus on a particular part of you. You understand? But all those other things I can do very well. You understand?
Okay,
really?
Someone that wants to venture into graphics design.
Yeah.
What are the tools he or she needs to have for a starter?
For a starter, all you need is your PC.
What about
laptop.
people that can't afford a PC?
You can't afford a PC as a graphic designer. Well, for me, that's like the very basic is for you to have a PC, because maybe you'll be designing in your mind, or you can pick your phone up and do some few things. Phones allow people to do a lot these days, you understand, especially when you can access a high part, you understand, and you can do a lot. You can learn a lot from it. You can go for classes, sign up for professional courses, you understand, basic, intermediate, and professionals, you understand. So you can do something without what the laptop is basic.
Yeah, but we understand. For a starter now, maybe someone who just left school and doesn't want to be idle at home, and he or she has just an Android phone, can't they use their phone for now? And also, what are those basic apps? Like, I know about Canva. I've used it to design a couple of times. What are those basic apps one has to have on their phones to help them in doing some of these little designs?
Okay, for a beginner that has access to a good Android phone,
yeah,
instant, and wants to be creating something, get creative with it. Canva, like you said, it's built for business owners, so proprietors that don't have money to pay graphic designers, just do something for themselves, you understand. So if you have Canva, you should have there's this PixArt.
Yeah.
There's this PixArt, you understand. Those are apps I used like 10 years ago.
PhotoGrid?
No, not PhotoGrid.
Okay.
PixArt. You can use PhotoGrid also.
Okay.
You can use PixArt. You can use Canva. The list is endless. As far as you can go online and get it. Just is at the tap of a finger, you understand, and you get how to go around your app, you understand. But I know that one thing you need mostly, you understand, is that your creative mind.
Okay.
Now let's talk about the lucrative nature of this craft you're into. How lucrative is it? Does it really give people money to go into it? Have you started breaking even? Let's even start from there.
Okay, are you talking of me personally?
You personally, have you started making money from it, and how lucrative is it?
Okay, for myself personally, I learned graphic design generally, the general graphic design, you understand. So I run a company, you understand, Creative Joe Studios, and at that
You're going to pay us for that advert.
Yeah. So I run a company, and what I do in the company is brand identity designs. Instance, companies come to me, they want to, for some starters, so they need like a full brand and identity plan. Instance, so give them, this is a proposal for your brand, to kind of color palettes that will go with it. What are your values? What's your philosophy? So that we can put it into our thinking, our conceptualization when we are creating the brand for you, instance. So they give us their values, their philosophy, then we work with it and we give them, let's do this. So the whole brand strategy, we do it there, we create the brand for them, and then...
That's enough hype for yourself. But let's talk about how much can someone pay you for this service. That's the lucrative aspect I'm talking about.
Okay, for brand identity, if you have about 50 to 100K, you can do better than this.
50 to 100K.
Yeah.
So it's really worth it to go into this craft, right?
It's very much worth it,
All
but
right.
you have to love the craft.
All right. So what are those things now that an individual needs to have? Like, for instance, you have the skill. Now you want to go into it. Do you need an office, or can you operate from home? How do you advise someone?
Okay, you could for someone who wants to be a graphic designer, you understand?
He is a graphic designer.
Okay.
By the skill.
But he
skill. Wants to now start giving out his
business
service
right now.
Yeah.
He wants to start giving out his service to those who are in need of it. Can the person start from home?
Yeah.
If he doesn't have the money to get an office, or it's the most you must have an office?
The truth is that you can start from anywhere. Anywhere.
Really?
Yeah, anywhere. Once you have you need to have a space. And in a home, you could just cut out a space for yourself, you understand? Once it's a comfortable space, good ventilation, where you can put your system for work, you understand? You have good power supply, you get some internet. You could work from there.
So these are your tools now, right?
Very
Now, so
basic
how can your clients, those who are your customers, potential customers, how do they locate you if you're starting from home, with this kind of business?
Okay, I believe one of the major main medium.
What are the strategies you use to bring people in?
Okay, one of the major medium of communicating and adverts today is online. Is going online using social media.
You sell yourself on social media.
Sell yourself on social media. Create amazing concepts. Create the big posters out there for the banks and the big institutions were created by somebody. So create some concepts, propose some concepts, mail some people, show them your work, show them what you've got.
In fact, that's where I want you to hit hard on, because if you're operating from home, it means that you're kind of confined.
Yeah.
To an environment where people might not really know you.
Yeah.
But like you're saying now, to sell yourself, if you want to start from home, you need to now make publicity of what you do on social media, right? Then you do some mailings and contacts, letting people know what you do. That's fine. That's fine.
The publicity has to be as aggressive as you know what you're doing.
Now let's talk about the skills. How long does it take one who wants to learn graphics design? Because sometimes they can say 3 months, 6 months, a year. So how long do you think? Maybe the person doesn't really have a passion, but he or she wants to go into graphics design. How long do you think it can take one to learn this craft? Okay,
in as much as learning is a lifetime, I feel like if you don't have too much passion, that 3 months instant is good enough instant for you to start something. Now you have to understand the fact that after learning 3 months you have to watch who you're comparing yourself with. You have to watch your standard of being good enough. Instant. And of course you don't have to be hard on yourself. But when you expect after that 3 months you have to do projects. What makes you good is projects. It's projects and do projects. Jump on, get passion projects to work on. By God's grace today, I have collaborations with some organizations in Ghana. You understand? Some personalities that's my friend over there, Jonathan Delight in Zimbabwe. We've been working for quite a while. You understand? So, but it did not just happen in a day. You understand? They have to see that, okay, this guy knows this craft by the virtue of the project I've created before. Okay,
you talked to my colleague about putting yourself out there, designing banners, showing people your work. But most times, putting yourself out there, you have to do it, even when you're not being paid. Is it just for you to design and so people can know about your work? Because it's hard as a starter getting big jobs. So do you mean he has to invest his money, create a banner, a design, then put it out there?
Okay, I will speak first for passion, and then I will speak for business.
Okay.
For passion, it's easier to create passion projects because I do tell people graphic design, it's like a entry door to becoming a creative, like different levels of creativity. Today I call myself a photo artist, not just a graphic designer, because I can make amazing posters for your fashion shows, for your magazine. I can make amazing captures for your films. And I've been doing that, you understand? So as a graphic designer, it's an entry level. So when you said much as a graphic designer, the more you practice, you understand, the more you'll be able to, okay, am I coming up with something for passion, or I'm coming up with something just to sell? When you're just creating just to sell, who are you creating for? Is a very good question you need to ask yourself. Who should be my client? Who are my potential clients? Everybody is not your client, and everyone is not supposed to be.
That's interesting. Okay. Now, as we coast home, what's your advice for those who are actually watching and have the flair to want to do what you're doing today? What's your advice for them?
Okay, so my advice for those who are watching is that, just make sure that, God wants you to do this thing. After you know that God really wants you to do it, then make sure that you have passion for it. You know what? Why you're doing it is very important, because along the way you're going to come across challenges, and it's imminent. It's important that challenges be there. You understand? So when you know why you want to do it, is it for just passion? Is it just a side something for you, or it's going to be business, like real time? So because it's going to be business, you know who to follow, you know who to mentor you, you know where to start from. You understand? So first of all, one thing I will say is that know why you're doing graphic design. Once you know why you're doing it, it's going to help you to keep true.
Okay. So much. You've shared enough. And I even got to learn about graphics design myself. Okay, we have been speaking to Jopee Dairo. He's a graphics designer and a big name in the industry, in the graphics design industry. And we'll take a breather now. When we return, we'll be wrapping the show. Stay with us.